Welcome to the Solid Signal Podcast for the week of August 14th, 2017. Hey, I love internet commenters, don't you? Recently, I got a spate of internet comments on my last podcast, in fact, that said, this doesn't have anything to do with consumer electronics. You need to get back to topic. And you know what? I respect everybody who comments, and I think that everybody is entitled to his or her own opinion, and maybe they're right. So I'll tell you what, this particular podcast, we're going to go and actually have a productive podcast about consumer electronic item that we are all interested in, and that is TV antennas. Another internet commenter on another site said, there's no difference between the new modern versions of the Televez antennas that we sell at Solid Signal and the old school Yagi antennas that you find on every house that was built in the 1950s and 60s, usually falling over and in bad repair. And so I thought I would take a moment to explain why I do believe there is a difference and why that difference is important. I've started doing my measurements with a new signal meter from Televez. Televez makes extremely expensive signal meters that are really awesome and let you dump everything down into Excel so that it makes it really easy to compare things. And I can take a full set of measurements on an antenna from a spectrum sweep all the way to signal to noise, carrier to noise, raw power signals, everything in about 5 minutes. And then that gives me plenty of time to analyze the signal a lot better. And so I have been. I've been comparing the reference antenna that I've got, which is an old Channel Master antenna that sits on the top of our laboratories in Southern California, with newer Televez antennas and with a whole bunch of other antennas, as a matter of fact. And I found that there is a difference. It wasn't just advertising hype, and I didn't think that it was, but there is a real difference, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. But first, I'm going to start with an apology to those people who did say, hey, gain is gain, and it doesn't matter how you get that gain, that more gain is better, less gain is not as good. And, they're kind of right, and if you are getting sufficient signal through any antenna, whether it's made of a coat hanger or a nickel or a potato or what have you, if it's actually bringing in a picture, you don't need more than that. Simple as that. An antenna that does better than that isn't going to help you. They're absolutely right. And so if that old antenna on the roof is doing it for you, that's absolutely great. But what if it's not? What if you need a little bit more than that? And how should you achieve that? Well, obviously, I think the best way to achieve really the signal that you need would be with a gigantic antenna. Having an antenna that was the same length as the wave that it's trying to pick up, or double the length of the wave that it's trying to pick up, would be great. It would also mean that you had a VHF antenna that was about 13 feet wide, and that's just not practical. So putting all of that aside, another way that you can get the gain that you need is through high quality components, and I have to tell you there is a difference. Looking at the balun in my old Channel Master antenna, which was probably put up in the late 1960s, I see thick epoxy board, but it's not just a matter of age. I see a lot of stuff that looks like it was soldered by hand, and that means potential for noise getting into a line, and I don't see a lot of shielding. On the other hand, on my new Televez antennas, I see a lot of shielding. I see a lot of very, very precise solder points, and that's got to make a difference. So score one for modern technology. You should expect to see 1 to 2 dB increase just from the fact that you've got better electronics going on there. And with the MMIC technology that you see with Televez antennas, I think that you end up seeing a lot more. I've done some tests between Televez older antennas and the new ones that use MMIC technology, and I've actually seen a 3 to 4 dB increase just in that. So again, high quality electronics, good quality manufacturing does matter. Another thing that matters is nice, clean amplification. If your amplifier is so noisy that it can't even overcome the amount of noise that it's adding in, and I have seen amplifiers that do this, it's no good. I often say that an amplified antenna isn't even necessary, and some of my testing have shown that unless you're in a very fringe area, 50 to 60 miles, an amplified antenna isn't doing anything for you. But if you are in that fringe area, high quality amplification is what it takes. So, folks, I know that you can say that an antenna is an antenna, but a well-built antenna, a high quality antenna that's got good manufacturing, actually does make a difference. And the level of manufacturing that's available with today's television antennas is far, far better than you see with the old Channel Master antennas, old Weingard antennas made in the 1960s and 1970s. Now, Weingard and Channel Master have also come a long distance, and they've got a line of low noise amplifiers, both of them. And they also have new manufacturing methods that were not available back in those days. But does it make a difference? Yes, it makes a difference. It makes a difference whether you buy a high quality manufactured antenna that's done, to the tightest tolerances, or whether you're buying something made in China that is just basically stamped out there. It makes a difference what you do, how you put things up, how well your antenna has been maintained over the years. It really does make a difference. And I've got testing results to prove it. If you're interested, leave a comment on this video, and I will be happy to share any testing results that I have. Until then, have a great week, and I will see you next week.